So, we live. Hold on, there I am. So we are live from my little bedroom space. Good morning, everybody. It's gonna be a busy day. So I'll wait till a couple people get in here, because this video is not quite like whatever. I actually am going to touch on a couple of subjects, and well, particularly one subject. And I know a lot of people are going to say, good morning, Tiffany. A lot of people are going to say, you don't need to address this or whatever. But clearly it does need to be addressed. So we're going to address it. And so give me a minute here. We're going to wait just a moment. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. I know this can be rewatched, but let's just put it out here, okay? So I got a comment on the video. Now, I did not share the comment or allow it access to the channel. One reason in particular, because when you make comments like this, people tend to become, I guess you could say, defensive in the comment section and would come to defend us. And I don't need anybody being bullied or being treated with disrespect or yelled at by the community. So I'm not sharing the comment, though I will address that comment. I won't say any names because, like I said, I don't want anybody being targeted or hollered at or pinpointed or whatever. But let me just say this. Financially, what I earn and where my money goes is nobody's damn business. Secondly, when I asked for with the GoFundMe about a few weeks back, here was the situation. And I explained the situation. So if you had watched the video, you would have understood that. We had a lot of things that happened, okay? One, I make enough money every month to pay my bills, okay? So I pay my bills, nobody else. I pay my bills. I keep everything, supported in this household, me, through my income. So clearly I have a steady income or we wouldn't be living where we're living. Secondly, I had already paid all of our bills, utilities, our bills, my phone, our internet, everything. All of our bills had already been paid for this month when we found out we were having to vacate our property. So that meant, because everything had already been paid, there was no income left to book a space at the RV park. Now you have to book in advance. I was explaining this in the video. I wasn't going to get paid for a few weeks. So I already knew that my check wasn't going to be here in time to book a reservation at the location. My son came to our aid in that. Hi, Lisa. So my son came to our aid in that one and went ahead and paid the reservation. So the reservation was booked in time. So I pulled the GoFundMe immediately. Nobody paid into that GoFundMe, by the way, not one person. So I would never have set that up if we didn't need the money immediately, okay? Because if we didn't need to book a reservation, then there wouldn't have been any problem. I could have just paid for the reservation spot on my own when I got my check. But that meant we weren't guaranteed to have a space to park the RV when the time came. So, new watch, new phone. Okay, first of all, the thing's called an upgrade. When you have a phone service plan for as long as I have, you qualify for upgrades. Now I have mine and Sarah's phone on the plan. So we've qualified for the two phones to be upgraded. So there's your stupid comment about how we could afford a new phone and how we could afford a new watch. My new watch wasn't a big expense, first of all. I already had an iWatch. My iWatch broke. Now, it was covered under a service plan. So, because of that, and the fact that the face came off, and in the attempt for them to fix the face of the watch, it was broken in the process. So therefore, I got a new watch in replacement of it. I paid a very small fee for the difference in the price range because it's part of my plan. Anyway, so there's that. So it wasn't like I went way deep into my pockets all of a sudden for stuff. Secondly, if you're not paying attention to what time of year it is, this is tax season. So with that, I have decided to use that money, which I worked all year for, by the way, to, one, get all my insurance and stuff done for an entire year on our vehicle and on the RV. Two, I paid our registration in advance. The RV is 5 years registered. My car is done for 2. So, because vehicles you only can register your vehicle for 2 years. So I got all that done in advance, right? So you pay a little extra, but it's worth it, because that means I don't have that bill next year. That means it's money that can be put aside for something else. All right. So that being said, I've also used my tax return money to get everything done so that Sarah and I can live comfortably in this space, seeing as this is now going to be our permanent home for a while. So here's the thing. Nobody else pays my bills. I work for that crap. I work for it, okay? So let's be very clear. What my income is, you have no idea. And for you to assume that I don't have a steady income is really stupid on your part. Just an FYI, it is stupid on your part to assume anybody's income and how they get it or how steady it is. Mine is very steady. As a matter of fact, I know exactly how much money I make every single month within the penny, okay? So let's just make that very clear. I make enough money to sustain myself and my daughter and my fur babies. So nobody needs anybody's 2 cents on where my income comes from. So to explain to your question that you had, or your assumption that was had. Good morning, Jeffrey. The assumption that you had, which was you don't have a steady income. You're asking for money on social media, but yet you go and have a new iWatch and a new iPhone. First of all, the iWatch and iPhone were upgrades, so not much spent there. So there's that. I could have done it could have even done it without my income tax, okay? Because I make enough money to do so. Secondly, the other part of your question, which was why would I ask for money on social media? Hi, Crash. The reason we asked, and like I said earlier in this, and I said even in that video, was that we needed that money immediately. Wasn't like we needed if we could have waited and booked the reservation or booked the space when we needed the space, then we would not have even bothered asking. But when we called in to find out about what their pricing was and how that whole thing works, you have to book in advance. They had 4 spaces left, okay? They had 4 spaces left, and you have to reserve those spaces way in advance. You're right. I shouldn't have to explain, Lisa. However, I think it's important because I did put up a social media post asking for assistance. But if they've been watching since then, we explained that we already got it covered. My son jumped in and helped out. Secondly, if they've been watching, we've been spending money all month, right? And this was before we got our tax return. So we've been spending money all month. I wonder where that comes from. It's called work. So when I got my paycheck, at the time that I said I would get my paycheck, we've been spending money all month to get the RV fixed. This stuff doesn't just miraculously appear. Like working on the RV and the paint and the hardware and the filing stuff and all the piping and all the engine parts. That stuff doesn't just appear for your information. I have worked my tail off to get this thing running. Also, you see what? A 30-minute, maybe hour and a half, maybe 2, if you guys are lucky on that part, of me sitting here live streaming with you, right? Now, between the cleaning up the RV, renovating, getting the house put together over here, cleaning that out, doing my schoolwork on top of everything else, there's a lot you don't see behind the scenes. So you see a couple hours here while after that, I bust out, get things done here. I sit back and I do my schoolwork. So I have stuff going on. If you've ever been a military personnel, See, like, and that was my thought on it, but I also thought to myself, okay, but I do owe an explanation as to why we asked. But I had already explained it in the video when we asked, like when we posted it on social media for the GoFundMe. We immediately took it down when the space was paid for. Immediately. And nobody else paid into it, by the way. Not a single dime got put into that GoFundMe. And this is right here. This is right here why I never ask people for assistance, right? This is why we don't ever reach out, because you get nasty people like this. But yet people will post a GoFundMe page for a kid's skateboard because a bully broke their skateboard. And next thing you know, they've got $100,000 fucking dollars sitting in their damn thing. While someone like me, who is put in a situation where we were blindsided unexpectedly and told, hey, you're leaving your home. And we've already paid all of our bills for the month, and we have nothing remaining after all the bills and said things are done, that we're stuck in between a rock and a hard place and need something immediately. And we're bashed for asking for help when a situation was completely out of our control. But so for me, yeah, we posted that, and yeah, we did ask for assistance. But also on the hindsight of that, if you didn't put into it and you didn't help out, you have no say. You have absolutely no say in where somebody else's money goes. First of all, it's flippin' rude to ask anybody. Hi, Leah. It's so rude to ask anybody how much money they make. And it's really rude to make assumptions about how somebody makes an income or whether or not somebody has a steady income. But yes, for your information, I have a very steady income. I may not work your traditional 9-to-5 job, but I have a very steady income. I have a guaranteed amount every single month that I know is coming into my bank. And as a matter of fact, now that we're living in this, I will be able to put money away to save and not even have to worry about ever asking somebody for assistance, because of the fact that downsizing and downgrading everything into the RV space has left us with a substantial income to travel. We're going to be able to travel, get out, do fun things, and my income will cover that and then some. So if you have any questions about whether or not I make enough money or how I make my money, how I make my money is none of your business. So that is not needed. You do not need to know that information. I'm absolutely okay. I just felt it was that I needed to address. This was not the only comment I've gotten. I've gotten several comments asking questions about where I'm getting money to put into the RV. It's called a paycheck. So let's be real. It's called a paycheck. I get paid roughly every 2 weeks. So it comes out exactly every 2 weeks. It's a certain day of the week. And I get paid it's bi-monthly is how they have it. So it's considered bi-monthly. But yes, so I get paid because I work my butt off. No, you're right. It isn't anybody's business. And that's so true. It is nobody's business. That's so right. Yeah, it's so right. No, you're right. I don't have to explain, and I shouldn't have to explain. But I feel that it's necessary to explain when you do post something on social media, and then turn around and you've got new stuff later on. So, like I said, when I posted it, I explained it clearly when we posted that video, when we set up the GoFundMe. We explained it right to a T what was going on. And as soon as Taylor contacted me when he saw what I had posted, we immediately pulled the GoFundMe. Because I couldn't get a hold of anybody, and we knew we needed to book the space ASAP. There was only 4 spaces left. So we knew that. And then we also knew, because I had already paid all of my bills and already went grocery shopping and already did all the stuff with the pet's insurance, all of that was already paid for. We had nothing left. And so we knew that we didn't have any wiggle room to put in for the reservation. So being that, I reached out. Now, this is the reason right here why I don't reach out and why I don't ask for assistance, because even in a desperate moment, knowing that I still had 2 weeks to wait before I got paid again, because I'd already paid all my bills. I had 2 weeks to wait, and there was no guarantee that there would be a space left in 2 weeks from that date. So posting that, then my son covering it, and then I got paid. So then I got paid, and I went ahead and got the things we needed for the RV. So, like I said, it's also tax season. So there's that coming around. And updating your phone account and doing a phone upgrade, one, we qualified to do the upgrade to the new iPhone 11, right? I don't need to go an iPhone 11 because, one, I don't need to put down a big old deposit. So we went with a not as new phone. So we got the 8 and the 10. Now, those didn't cost an arm and a leg to upgrade to because we qualified for the upgrade. Plus, we had a trade-in that they weren't going to give us much for, so we kept the trade-in. We didn't even decide to use it. But we still qualified for our update. And my watch is under my plan. So getting my watch and my phone were part of an update. And even if it wasn't any of your business. And like I said, if people had paid into the GoFundMe and whatnot, I would have found a way to set it up so that we could repay that money back. So there's that. No, I know that, and I understand that. Like I said, so maybe that person, well, clearly they saw my social media post and was like, hey, you're asking for money, but then you're turning around and having this. Yeah, well, this is an this is an iWatch 3, Series 3. This is not the new Series iWatch, okay? Also, this one's just the GPS one. This is not the one with the cellular on it. So, it's not like I went out and about. Like I said, Allie, this is the reason why I did the video, was because I wanted to explain, first of all, because I felt like, okay, so we did ask for assistance. But we also explained in the video why we were asking for that. It wasn't because I have no income, because I have an income. Clearly, I have an income. It's none of your business, right? But yeah, so that's the truest part of it. Like, my income isn't anybody's business. So that's why I'm not disclosing that. Exactly. And that's exactly it, Allie. And I was at my, literally, I did not even want to come close to putting that up. But when I did, several family members saw it and messaged Taylor, because I had already messaged him, talking to him. Several other things were going on. So it was like, what the heck? See, and that's the thing. They do take it way out of perspective. You're right, Crash. And also, they feel they're entitled to they're entitled to information that is just not needed. My income and what I make income-wise, you don't need that information. You don't need it. It does nothing to benefit you. It does nothing to benefit me to share that information with you. So I sit there and I go, why would you need that information? And why would you even come to a conclusion to assume that I have no steady income? To make that blanket statement of, how can you have this and this when you don't have a steady income? Where did you come to terms? Where did you put together that I had no steady income? That's the one thing I don't understand. You're stating I have no steady income, but I don't understand where you get that information from, because we've lived in our house for 4 years. I've worked my tail off to pay our bills and everything else. Plus, I go to school full time. So if you've ever been a veteran, you know that you make income if you steadily stay in school. If you pay... Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Marie, but playing devil's advocate, I think many people don't understand the lifestyle of not having your... Yeah, exactly. See, and that's right, Allie. And that's where I think it bites me, when people don't realize that I don't work a 9 to 5. And I don't work a steady out there in the big world 9 to 5 job, but I work. So I can tell you this, about 70% of my day, about 70% of my day is spent on a dang computer. And I realize that a lot of my headaches are attributed to the fact that I have too much screen time. One, because I'm doing school. Two, because I'm editing all the time. And it has nothing to do with YouTube. My editing stuff has nothing to do with YouTube. It has to do with jobs with photography. So that being said, I do work. You may not see the work that I do, but I work. And, oh, snap. Holy crud, he almost fell right on top of that. Sorry, I'm literally looking at my neighbors right through the window here. And they're doing some kind of work on the yard, but this guy almost fell right on top of the damn chainsaw. Oh my God. This is why we don't work in a tight quarter like that with all that junk around. Jiminy's. One of them's gonna be lobbing a limb off. Yeah, exactly, Jeff. And here's the thing. Here's the kicker, right? I don't ever ask for money. Yeah, you're right, Allie. They don't get it. But nobody, unless they are covering a bill for you, nobody has a right to know how much money you make and where your money goes at all. They have no business knowing that information. It is none of their business. Oh my God, Larry. Hi, Larry. Holy crap, how are you, man? I need to ask your advice on a cat who's pregnant. Just wondering if you have any tips to make her comfortable. I would say just read the cues off of her. Cats do this all the time. Oh no, you're sick at work? What the heck? Yeah, exactly, Allie. My money and where I spend it is nobody's damn business. Way around, wouldn't like it if... Yeah, no doubt, right? Like, if somebody came up to them and been like, excuse me, how much money do you make? And why are you buying that? You shouldn't buy that coffee because you don't have that money. Yeah, I would say definitely get her fixed so she's not getting pregnant again. But the biggest thing is cats do this all the time. I would say also that her cues will let you know whether or not she's comfortable where she's at, whether or not she wants you to be touching her or whatever. So just read her cues and just make sure that she has safe spaces. So if you have other animals in the house or whatever, she's going to want places where she can find, because she's going to be having kitties, she's going to want a place that she's going to be able to hide to keep her kittens safe. So you want to give her access to areas that she can show you where she's going to be her most comfortable. Once she's kind of picked her location, you're going to want to make sure you set up a box with some towels, stuff like that. Don't use terry cloth, please, because the kitten's little nails can get stuck in that. They can get tangled in it and then they can suffocate. So don't do that. Your best bet is like newspaper or like what we did these like blankets with like, I can't even show you, with like the softer like material that doesn't have little links in it. I ended up buying like baby blankets. So like baby blankets, like receiving blankets, those work really well for when they're having kittens and stuff. But stuff that you're not afraid to throw away. Yeah, one time you're at a Starbucks and a person came in using their... See, and that's the crazy thing, because one, you can't use food stamps to purchase stuff like that. So they were using their EBT card, which more than likely they also had cash benefits on. So they were clearly receiving benefits from the state in the form of cash, which is, if you're receiving cash assistance and food benefits, those should be going strictly for the care of your property. You should not be using that money whatsoever to purchase extravagant things. However, However, there are people out there who are receiving assistance to help with that last little bracket. Right now, the person being on the street corner, bull crap. Get your ass out there and try to find some form of employment. Don't be standing on a street corner. You're wasting time. But I know from personal experience, when I first became a single mom, that I was working 2 jobs and still wasn't making enough to make ends meet and got assistance. Now, you want to be able to treat yourself once in a while. And even when you're busting your butt working 2 jobs and you're receiving assistance, you want to go have a Starbucks drink. But that doesn't mean go stand on a corner. Yeah, exactly. Get off that corner. Use that money instead of buying Starbucks with it. Use that money to go get diapers. If you're so in need of diapers or whatever else, then you don't need the Starbucks drink. And that's how I always looked at it. If you're busting your tail and you're working your tail off and you're receiving assistance and all the bills do get covered and you have a couple bucks left over, like you have that little bit of wiggle room, then go ahead and give yourself a treat after working your tail off. Yeah, they're standing on the corner because it's easy. Exactly, Larry. By the way, you guys, Larry in the chat right here is literally my childhood best friend. We went through junior high together, high school together. Best friend. Love you, Larry. Miss your face. So let me know the next time you're coming down this way. We'll have to meet up because we're in the RV now. And I love my RV. I am so happy that that we got pushed to do this, because I knew we were going to do this in June. I knew this was where we were going to be in June. That was the whole plan. We're being pushed into it a couple months early. But you know what? When it first happened, I think it was just the worst timing. You know what I mean? Like there was all kinds of other things going on. And so getting that information that we would be moving into the RV a bit earlier than later was what upset me. But, because of everything else that had happened. But being in the RV was something I'd already planned on. And so being in here has been awesome. So I'm so happy I'm finally in the one place I've wanted to do for forever. I was talking to Jay yesterday, and he was saying that, when you finally have something that you've wanted for so long, when you finally do something you've wanted for so long, that nervousness and that relief and all of that at the same time is amazing. And it is. Like we FaceTimed and he got to see the RV and he was so blown away by the changes I've made with it. This is coming from someone who serves the homeless when I can. They tend to take advantage and use that money to get... Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said the situation she's describing is an absolute frigging no-no if you're somebody who is receiving assistance. Absolutely not. Do not go stand on a street corner with a sign saying you need help and then turn around and use an EBT card supplied to you by the state to go and purchase something such as Starbucks. One, Starbucks is freaking expensive. And their coffee's not really worth it anyway. Their chai tea with soy, however, is definitely worth it. But their coffee, no. Do not take that money that is being given to you by the state and go be lazy and spend that money on something else and then stand on a street corner saying, hey, I need this, while sipping on a Starbucks coffee. Because that $5 that you just spent on that coffee, and that's for a small one, could go to an entire pack of diapers at the dollar store. You can get an entire pack of diapers. Cheapy diapers, but diapers nonetheless. Ew. Larry, you would like Starbucks coffee. I hate Starbucks coffee. I absolutely hate it. I think it's disgusting. Or food. But yeah, I mean, oh man. Yeah. See, and that's the thing. Out here, here's the kicker out here in Arizona. If you go on assistance in Arizona, if you go on food benefits, then you have to check in with them and report to them every 3 months now. If you get cash assistance, then you are required to take job training classes. Required. While you are on assistance, you are to show up to those classes 5 days a week until you find employment. So if you're here in Arizona and you get a cash assistance, You will be attending a 9 to 5 class every single day to be doing that. They give you, you do this class, and then they send you out during that chunk of time. They give you your bus pass. You are required to go, and you are required to bring back 3 places every day, 3 places, even if during the week, the same place has to be done a second time, showing that you are putting in for employment. They will not let you sit back with that. You will be at that office. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know what? I agree with it. I completely agree with it. I took a class when I was in Oklahoma, when I very first separated from the military. And I took this class for military veterans, for people that are just exiting the military. Ejection sites in Seattle, so go figure. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So when I was in Oklahoma, I took this amazing class. It showed how to write a resume, how to do your job search and everything. And in doing that class, I was able to find a really good job, and I loved it. Oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups. So, like I said, if you are determined enough, you will find work. If you are lazy, you won't. And as anybody knows me, anybody who's ever been around me or been in my life knows I am nowhere near a lazy person. I can't even try to be lazy for a day. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if you know me, Larry can testify to this. I am someone who never stops moving. I'm always, always busy. I cannot, for the life of me, sit still for a day, do nothing for a day. I can't do it, you guys. I can't. Like the other day, I said, I'm going to take the day off, right? What happens if you're unable to work? If you are not able to work, okay, and like if you are disabled to a point you cannot work, then you go and you go and apply for Social Security benefits, whatever, disability, whatever it is. I saw you sleep. I know, Larry, you did see me sleep. I did sleep once. I did. Yeah. That was out at my Uncle John's. Thanks, Larry. Then management classes back in high school, I enjoyed it, but we had the one kid that hyped up and said, "Oh, the state will take care of me and I don't care to work." Oh gosh. Yeah. You weren't moving then? Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do kind of late when I go to, here's the thing, guys. I scared the crap out of Sarah the other night because when I do finally fall asleep, which I don't sleep very often, when I do fall asleep and my body has had its has hit its wall, when I fall asleep, I don't move. Like I lay in one position, and that's the position I end up waking up in. I do not move around. My bed sheets will be completely still, like made, so to speak, because when I fall asleep, I'm asleep. And Sarah went to say something to me the other night, thinking I was still awake because I had the TV was running. And she said she got scared because she shook me and I didn't move, didn't respond. And she shook me again because it scared her half to death because I was laying up here and it was kind of hot in here. And she was like, "Oh my God, Mom, you scared me so bad." But yeah, when I finally do fall asleep and my body says, "Okay, sleep time," after weeks and weeks of no rest, yeah, then I crash out. So Larry has seen me sleep, which is really funny too, because we were out at my uncle's and I crashed out. No, I haven't. I didn't really have any connection to him or really follow him. So no. And I'm kind of like, I get that he did a lot of really good things, but he's also done some really horrible things. And to me, everybody does things good and bad in their life, whatever. Everybody's a human. He was, of course, a public figure, so his funeral was going to be very public. Yeah, exactly. And I know. And right now, with everything else that's been going on with like my family and knowing that we have a friend that we're burying on Friday, tomorrow. My uncle will be being buried next week. now that everything's been finalized in his investigation. It's just like, then having, of course, we just, you know, yeah, I think right now I would probably watch those because those speeches at those, like when I watched Christina Grimmie's memorial service, and the speeches that were spoken at that were absolutely incredible. They weren't just about her, but they were about life and the meaning of it and the importance of things. It was those speeches were amazing. But right now, I don't think mental health wise, right now, I'm ready to hear those because I'm preparing myself right now for 2 other funerals. So I know Larry knows Star. So we grew up with Star, and having her a part of our life, and then having her gone. Oh gosh, she's so young, too young to be gone. Yeah. And I'll definitely check, especially the one his wife did. I caught some of it, like some of his wife's speech. I caught some of that. But yesterday was the most frustrating day of doing the RV so far. So I'm not able, because of course I can't get to New York, which is when they're going to hold her memorial. I'm going to be joining in via phone during her memorial. So a guy by the name of Rick Bigsby. I know that one. Really? Oh, I know that one. Yes, you're right, Larry. She really, really is. I think I'm not sad for her. I'm sad for her kids, her family, her boys especially. Like her boys, that hurts my heart because, of course, nobody wants to lose their mom at such a young age. And so that's the part I think that bothers me more than anything. For her, though, I know she's at peace, and I know she's not hurting anymore, and I know she's not going to be struggling anymore. And that is a relief. But her boys is the part that gets me. Like, that hits deep when it comes to your kids. And then my uncle, that is the part I think that my uncle's death right now, I still can't. Like, I still am not able to wrap my head around his suicide. I can't. And I'm at this point, I'm pretty sure that's what they're ruling it as. She's sound asleep. She's like she's right behind the curtain, sound asleep. So we had a long night last night. Let's just say yesterday was the most frustrating day. So have you guys ever done something, right, where you've worked on something really, really, really hard, okay? And you finally get it accomplished. And you were like, yes, I did it. Hours, okay? Let's just put it this way. Hours. A lot of hours. And you get everything going. And you're like, yes, it's 9 a.m. You better. I will. I'm actually not going to wake her up until 10 o'clock. We have the rest of the stuff to move today. No. He has a huge family. We have a very large extended family. He has a wife, 4 kids. He's got altogether 8 other siblings, because I think there's 9 of them total. Yeah, there's 8 of he's younger than me. He's the one that went to school with my brother when my brother moved in with my aunt. His name was Jose. And so he was only 39 years old. So that's a hard blow. It's uncle related through the people that raised my aunt after my grandmother's death. So his name was Jose. And like I said, his parents are the ones that took in my aunt when she was 9 years old. They're the ones who raised my aunt Julia from the time she was 9 until they're still her mom and dad. Yeah, I know. So, Jose was a good man, like a really good man. So what happened? None of us can put our head around it. Like none of it makes sense, like at all. And I don't think it ever will. Like there's nothing any of us can put together that makes any sense. And it just breaks my heart. Like it really breaks my heart because you just never ever know what somebody is going through. You just don't know. And still can't put the pieces together as to what brought that resolution. So like I said, that's one I get speechless. I can't even find words to express like what could have possibly happened. So just remember, guys, people are going through crap that you just don't know. And when you say things or you imply things or you push issues, want to hear a joke about paper? No, because it's terrible. Knew that one. But anyway, you just, I don't know. Like I said, it's a subject that is super hard to discuss. And when you're in it, it's super, super hard to like, yeah, it's a dad joke. I know it's a dad joke. Seeing as I've been a mom and a dad, I kind of know some dad jokes, you know, but her still sitting. I actually have a really big surprise for her in almost 2 weeks. You made a belt of watches. Okay. Do I even want to know where that's leading to? Because what? But I have a really big surprise. It's a waste of time. Yeah. Too bad it's a waste of time. Oh my gosh. That one's a cute one. No. We're in an RV. We are not bringing in any. No. But I can say this. This surprise was actually, it's meant for myself and for her. But it's, I should say, Jay's the one issuing the surprise. So he's the one that thought it up and put it together. And he was like, I think you girls would really enjoy this. And so I was like, okay. So only reason why I know about it is because he needed to know that we were going to be able to do it. So I was like, oh, okay. He's like, because of course living in the RV now, he needed to make sure that this was going to work. Otherwise it would be a waste of money and stuff. So he was like, I don't want to do that. So he ran all the information past me, the idea, everything. And I was like, yeah, it'll totally work. So he has a big surprise for her. I am super excited about it, but can't tell her yet. And I can't disclose any of the information yet, because of course she may decide to come watch the video, and I don't want to spoil it. But it's going to be so worth it. And I think it'll be a good thing for the two of us. John. So I call him Jay, like by his first letter of his name. So do you need to beat someone up? No. You already know who he is. You know John. So he goes by Jay on here. Because of I just call him by his first initial. I always just call him by his first initial. So I can't beat him up. Nope. You're definitely right, Larry. You definitely can't beat him up. But nice try. I think we've already proven that. I know he already beat me up. Yep. Yep. That's what you get for thinking that you're so smart. Oh my God. You guys, Larry and I have some of the best memories. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he got his booty kicked by my man. Oh my God, that is so funny. Oh my gosh. So, but yeah, he's actually doing much better right now. He was really, really flipping sick since like December, and I kept telling him, "You really need to go find out what's going on." So finally, like a week and a half ago, finally, well, really, it was my foot. Yeah, it was his foot in my chest. Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, that's true. A foot in your chest will send you flying. Um, but he could not like kick whatever this thing was, and I kept telling him he needed to go get seen. Come to find out, he had pneumonia. Um, tickles does it take to get an octopus to make an octopus laugh? 10 tickles. Everybody knows that one. But yeah, so between the fact that, and the doctor wasn't too happy with him because he's, as you know, on chemo. And so being on chemo and getting ill and then not reporting it to your doctor is not good. So he ended up in the hospital because, of course, you know, he's Mr. I'm fine. Too strong-headed and too strong for his own will, his own good. He ended up at the hospital, and come to find out it was pneumonia all this time. So he is now on the mend and doing better. And we did a FaceTime so I could show him all the improvements because if you've been following along, when we first got Barbara, she was in great condition. Like, she was in great condition. Allie. And she would be if it wasn't for the crappy people. Needless to say, she has another interview at another location. If that goes good, then she'll be moving jobs. So that's kind of the goal. Like right now, I told her, I said, just, you know, keep looking. So her goal is one, we're going to be a lot closer to the other location. So we're hoping to move her over to that if that works out, and a different department. So she's not working with the one she's working with right now. Any department that will send a young lady out at 11 o'clock at night by themselves with no radio to do lot cleanup needs their head checked. Oh my gosh, that is her dream right now. If she could get hired at one of the daycares here, that would be literally her dream. There's several places here that are work, like, they don't have job openings, but there are several daycare centers here that I think she would be great at. So it would be a matter of making sure that they did her schedule accommodations. So that's the biggest thing, is the place that she's working at now. Finally, and there's Winnie doing it again to Tonks, and he hates it. Winnie Bear, stop! Sorry. But yeah, so it's one of those things where her accommodation, thank goodness, they worked around. No! Thank you, ma'am. Sorry, guys. He gets really irritated with her and she doesn't stop. So poor Tonks, he's like trying to get away from her. But yeah, so the place that she's working at now, she has accommodations set up because of her epilepsy. And one of the biggest ones is never have her working on her own. Like, she's not supposed to be by herself in any situation. And they left her alone at 11 o'clock at night in a dark, very large parking lot, and told her that she needed to stay and get the rest of the stuff cleaned up because it had been windy and whatnot, until when she had to get it all cleaned up before she was allowed to clock out. But also didn't have anybody else out there with her 11 o'clock at night, and did not give her a radio in case there was any trouble, if she was to run into any trouble out there. So she was by herself. And that was like, that's not okay. We went in the next day and I had a conversation with their manager, and the manager said, well, she should have never been out there by herself. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but she was supposed to have somebody else working on the shift with her. I said, yeah, that person stated they had to leave, and so they sent that person on their way and left her by herself. And she said, well, then they should not have done that. They should have had somebody else, pulled somebody else from one of the other departments to put out there with her. There's no reason she should have been left on her own. Well, then they did it a second time. So when you say when you say something and you make a noise about it, and then you turn around and you repeat the action again that already had a consequence for it, that just tells me you don't give a crap. She will be leaving that job. But the thing being is, and I've taught my kids this, you don't walk out of a job until you've already got something else lined up. Make sure you have another job in place before you walk away from one. So always make sure that you are ready and have a backup to set your feet on before you leap. Like with the RV, with the house and stuff, when we knew we were going to be moving into here, we still were looking for a house at the same time. Still looking for a rental property, still looking for a purchasing property, whichever one comes along that's going to suit our needs short term. But we got the RV going. And speaking of the RV going, yesterday, because I was telling you guys about the frustration. So here's what happened. I went out and I showed you guys the piping and stuff that I bought last night. And I got everything purchased for the plumbing, right? We found where the 2 leaks were that we were like, what the heck happened? One was because the filter thing, the pressure gauge, right? So the pressure regulator was bad, which caused the pressure in the lines to break the big filter that runs under the sink. So we knew that we needed to change that. And because the pressure came through so fast, it busted the pipe in the bathroom. So we knew we needed to change that out. We knew we needed to change out the things under the sink. And I knew that I needed a cap for the hose that goes to the pump because the pump is being bypassed. So we knew that. I bought all of those things, right? Got everything. Spent hours, many hours yesterday underneath these tight little crawl spaces to replace the plumbing. Replaced all of that. Becoming a what? Realtor? I think you mean realtor. One, real estate is terrifying out here. With the assaults that have happened out here, none of our realtors now out here will go to a viewing or a property now by themselves. Every one of those is done now with, you can't even get a viewing anymore unless 2 realtors are on property. Yeah, it's a big issue. Like, if go on Google, you'll get the information. It's terrifying. Way too many realtors out here have been assaulted. It's really bad up in Lake Havasu. These assaults have been absolutely terrifying. So yeah, you can't even get a viewing on a property anymore unless there's 2 realtors available to come to the property. So yesterday, hours and hours of being in these crawl spaces, dealing with thread tape, a plumber's favorite device, favorite part of the trade, being under there and putting this thread tape on in the tightest of situations, trying to get each piece threaded correctly, putting the tape on in the right direction, because, you know, sometimes you just forget that one piece is going to twist one way and the other piece is going to twist the other way. And you got to remember which direction the thread tape needs to go in. So hours of tiny little tight spaces, threading freaking tubing and hoses through different spots, tightening all these little bits and pieces, right? So getting all of that done. And I'm like, okay, all new piping is in, all new hoses are in, everything is secured. So we get the regulator on, we get the filter on, we get all this stuff set up. And I'm like, yes, turn on the water. Everything looks great, right? There's no leaks. Everything looks amazing. Turn on the water to the toilet, turn on the water in the shower, in the sink. Everything's flowing, looking great, moving along. And then the top starts to flood. And I'm like, whoa. Turn the water off. and the kitchen faucet is broken. The entire housing piece on one side is completely broken. Completely broken. So I loosen it up to see, like, is it just the housing case or is it the actual piece underneath that the hose is attached to? And yeah, it's the pieces underneath that the hoses are attached to. Found the reason it broke. I couldn't figure out at first, but I did find the reason it broke. Because the person who put it in place, put that faucet in place, tightened it too much. They tightened it so tight that when the countertop expands with the weather, it cracked and broke the housing piece for where the big screws turn in. So you got to remember when you're in something like this, or in a house such as our house here in Arizona, and during the heated months, things shrink and expand quite a bit, especially living in the desert. So be very mindful of when you tighten any nut on a bolt or tighten a hose on a area. My dogs are going to go crazy because the neighbor's big old dog, his old dog, is outside. This dog could totally care less about our dogs, but boy, do my dogs just lose their noodles over this dog. He's been there for 2 years. They've seen each other at the fence for 2 straight years now. And Godric's losing his noodle. Here's the thing. So I told you guys about how Godric busted his nail, right? So he had that taken care of at the vet. Now, he decides, even though we have this full-in rock yard, he needs to go flying up at that gate every single time that dog comes outside. So what's he do the other day? He breaks the same nail that was just fixed. So good thing was it did not bleed for very long. It literally stopped bleeding very shortly after I called the vet. She said, just wrap his foot. I said, that didn't work because he just tore the thing off. So she said, well, just clean it really, really good and put some nail polish on there. So I was like, nail polish? She said, put some nail polish on it. It'll at least, it's going to scrape off with him running around outside, but put some nail polish on it. That'll kind of protect it from where he broke it again. So I was like, all right. So that's what I did. So he got some, he's got blue nail polish on his one toe. But yeah, I don't know what, it's like, it's the same thing you see day in and day out for 2 straight years. How is it you have still an aggression towards something that has been there for such a long time? And oh my gosh, I think it's time to shut the heater off because it is boiling up here and it's going to be like 80 something today. So, oh my gosh, it's too hot. But yes, guys, so the title of this, Not Needed, is there is information in anybody's life. I need to open this. Ow. Open. There we go. There's information in people's lives that you do not need. Okay, it is not needed information for you. There is nothing in a person's life that you need information-wise. Nothing. Not how many kids they have, if they're married, if they're not married. You don't need that information. You want that information. You don't need that information. So, if you are not personally, financially taking care of someone, their income and what they do with it and how they use it is none of your business. Now, that being said, when I asked for the assistance that I asked for, before even asking, I explained the situation. So you had a full disclosure of information of where our money had already gone. So I did disclose that information, where our money had already gone and why we needed some assistance in that moment. I explained it. So that being said, you were given the information that was needed. Yeah, right? For your back tax debt. Yeah, exactly. Like seriously. So The information that was needed to be given to you was given to you. It was on your discretion of whether or not you would like to assist. If you thought, you know what? No, because I don't like the situation and I don't want to help, that's your prerogative, and absolutely you're right. And you were not obligated in any fashion whatsoever to help out. My son ended up stepping up and being the young man of the home, and he went ahead and got it covered. So nobody else put any money into it. That was all covered. I wanted to pay him back. He said, no, Mom, you've raised me. You've done everything for me. You've done all this stuff for me. It's my pleasure to make sure that you and my sister are set. So that got taken care of. Now, like I said, so information that was needed was given. What is not needed is people making accusations and assumptions about somebody based on one request for assistance in a time of absolute need. And like I said, that money was only because we didn't have that money in the moment. And we needed the money in the moment to book the reservation. Now, like I said, if we didn't need a book ahead of time, then it would have waited till my paycheck, which would have covered it. So, needless to say, nobody put in any money in where it wasn't needed, and nobody lost anything in the entire thing. And getting a new phone and a new watch has nothing to do with whether or not I make a steady income. There's people out there who drive some real fancy cars who barely make the payments. So, you can drive a pretty fancy car. You can live in a really big fancy house too, if you can make the minimum payments on it. So remember that. Just because somebody lives in an environment or a situation that you think is out of their league, you might want to take a look in the mirror and reevaluate your mental thought. Because one, some people live beyond their means. Two, sometimes people can afford a lot more than you think or assume, a lot more than you assume. And it's not your business to ever assume someone's income or how steady it is. One, mine is extremely steady because I know exactly how much money I'm going to have every month. I budget my money, so I know exactly where what I'm spending is going. And I'm super happy that now we'll be able to actually do a whole lot more travel-wise. So I'm really, really, really considering taking Allie up on the information that she's given me for my photography, because I think it would be perfect. So I think after I do a full haul, $4, after I do a full haul on Barbara, then I'm going to be hitting the road because I think it would be a huge benefit to get out there and see, first of all, so much more. And I think it would be an amazing set of traveling because I'd be around one my absolute favorite animal in the entire world. And I think I would meet some really incredible people. So, oh my gosh, why is I'm like literally, I'm sweating up here. So it is going to be so hot up here during the summer. Oh my gosh. It is going to be hot up here during the summer. Tonks is like, ugh, lays down. Speaking of which, I gotta go because I need to go get myself ready to go take Danny because she's going to do her vaccines, another set of vaccines today. So she's got her next round. So go take her to do that. And while I'm out, I'm picking up the rest of the stuff to wrap the, what do you call those? The bins in for the storage, because 2 of the bins need a good wrapping because they're going to have mothballs in there because we have some fabrics that need to be protected. So I'm going to get this plastic wrap stuff that I wrap the bins in. Just kind of a double layer of protection. So I'm going to take her, do that, and get out of here. What the heck is she? She's going to be huge. She's so big, you guys. Oh my gosh, she's so big. She's 11 weeks old now. So she'll be 12 weeks old on Sunday. And she's already she's pretty much, yeah, she's pretty much outweighs Godric now. So yeah, she's definitely pretty much bigger than Godric at this point. She's definitely taller than him. She's the same length as him, but she's taller than him. He's 23 pounds, and I'm going to guess she's right at that, 23, 24 pounds now. She's huge. So, ay, ay, ay. Winnie Bear, no ma'am. Sorry, you guys. I feel bad for Tonks because he keeps trying to get away from her when she does it. So, if anybody knows why a dog would do that, it drives Tonks crazy. And he keeps on like pulling his face away, and he keeps walking away from her, and she's like right up on him. But Winnie Bear will stick almost her whole head in his mouth, like licking at his mouth. Now, inside the house, because they have the dog door, inside the house is a big clean thing of drinking water. So it can't be because she wants drinking water. If anybody can explain to me why she keeps doing it, and it aggravates him to the point twice now he has snapped at her for doing it. But she will insistently do it to him. So can somebody please explain to me? Because I don't know why she keeps doing it. But she's the only one who does it. And she does it to Tonks all the time, and it drives him crazy. So if anybody has any information on why a dog would do that repeatedly, let me know. I know it's not because she's hungry, because they actually have access to food right now. Because with everything that's going on with the move and everything, we've kind of given them some free reign to a big bowl of a mixture of puppy and dog food. I know that's not the smartest thing, guys, so I don't want to hear anybody's stuff, but right now with everything going on, we're a little busy. And then I should find out today, they should have my keys today. He already had, like, repeatedly, he's already like nipped at her on several occasions to make her stop. And as soon as he lays back down, she starts in again. Winnie Bear, no ma'am. Like, she's like right next to him, and so he is like, he wants to lay down, so he keeps moving away from her, and he tries to find, and she follows him like wherever he's going, and it drives him bonkers. I don't know why she does it, but he's so big, like he's an 80-pound Carolina dog, and she's a little teeny tiny 10-pound pug mix, and one of these times, if he nips just right, he's gonna hurt the heck out of her. Winnie Bear. She goes. She's like, oh, darn it. Not again. So, and I don't know. You guys will have to let me know. Like, if anybody knows any, I've tried to research it, but I get stupid things like puppies wanting food or asking mama for food or whatnot, but she has food. So it can't be because she's hungry, and she does it all the time. Anytime he wants to lay down or get away from her, she's like always up in his mouth, and it's, I don't know. I don't know. So everything I've researched says something about it being to do with food and requesting food or regurgitation by the parent, which is something I guess dogs do for their pups and whatnot. So if anybody knows, please help a woman out, because I am thoroughly confused as to why she keeps doing it and why she doesn't want to stop doing it. And even when he gets mad at her and tells her to stop, why she continues to do it even when she's being told to stop by the other dog. All right, sounds like Sarah's gonna wake up all on her own. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off here. You guys are amazing. I've got to get the faucet in, but first things first, I got to go take Danny for her appointment. So you guys are amazing, and thank you for understanding. And like I said, I just felt that was a subject that needs to be touched on, about information that is not needed. So, like I said, I did not share the person's comment in the comment section, because I didn't need anybody bashing or, bullying or any of that. I wanted to address it. No names are being called. People and the person knows who they are, and that one, you weren't needed an explanation. Like, I didn't need to explain to you the situation, but I felt because I did ask for the assistance, and even though I did explain the situation during that asking of said assistance, clearly you weren't in the loop, and clearly you didn't quite understand the situation, and so I felt I'd better explain it a little bit better. So, there's that. So situation explained. Money situation, don't need to explain that to you. My income, don't need to explain that to you. But I do make a steady income. Maybe not your typical 9 to 5, which who works a typical 9 to 5 nowadays anyway? But a few people. I have worked a typical 9 to 5 quite a few times in my life. My job now, not so much. But is my income steady? Absolutely. I know exactly how much I can be guaranteed to make every month. And anything else past that, it's just icing on the cake. But I have a guaranteed set amount that I know for a fact I'll be bringing in every month. So there's that. So don't make assumptions when you don't know what you're talking about. 2, don't feel like you're self-privileged enough to have information that you are not privy to, that you do not deserve information of. So never ask somebody what their income is. Never make assumption about what their income is. And never, ever, ever dictate or decide that somebody is wrong for spending money on something because you don't agree with it. It's not your money. You're not paying their bills. You have no say in where it goes. So, with that being said, have a great day, guys. And we'll see you during life's next steps.